Welcome to The Kingstonian, a podcast that profiles individuals who are passionate about what they do for a living, about what organization they belong to, or simply passionate about the community they are a part of. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Cunningham. Welcome to the program. Today, Kevin Head is our guest. Welcome to the program, Kevin.
Hey, good to be here.
Great.
Good coffee.
You have been playing for a lot of years around town. You and I go back, I think, to CFMK days when we did talent shows way back.
Oh, yeah, and I won that songwriting competition, and you guys sent me to Nashville. I remember that.
And you met all the big people.
Oh, I did. Well, they were little then. I did. I guess so, yeah.
You have some history in terms of your music career performing in Ontario, Nova Scotia, Montreal for a bit. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in this business.
Let me see here. Playing in folk clubs, a folk club in high school, which is what everybody did, and also being in a rock band, being a rock star in high school and having a manager. And then that was in Ontario. And then I moved to Montreal and just decided to play acoustic music and write songs, and I started busking on the streets, and then I started doing hootenannies, or open mics as they're called, and got discovered by a CBC producer in the early 70s, and they recorded me on an international record and some radio shows and TV. Lots of playing, and then moved to Nova Scotia and just kept playing in bands and theater and touring in bands and theater and recording and just, yeah. And then where? I don't know. Montreal for a while, Ottawa as an actor for a while. Yeah, a life of showbiz.
When you started developing your career, any particular artist that influenced you in terms of style or songs or that sort of thing?
Wow. I think along the way, at different times, we were influenced by different people. Mm-hmm. Certain writers called to us at different times in our life. But when I first got started, like a whole lot of other people, I was playing Bob Dylan, Jerry Jeff Walker. Then I got kind of hooked on Guy Clark, the late and the great Guy Clark. Ian Tyson, certainly. And then I got, getting older, John Hyatt, Lyle Lovett, when he first came out. That's a long time ago. Just songwriters, poetic songwriters. Rodney Crowell, certainly. Mm-hmm. Guys like that back then. And then, of course, everybody was Steve Earle. It's been 20 years since he recorded Exit O. So along the way, yeah, people like that.
I remember playing songs from that particular LP when I was still working in commercial radio, and I really enjoyed Steve Earle.
Yeah,
he did some good stuff. When it comes to songwriting, I know you write a lot of your own stuff.
Yeah,
and I guess if you are somebody like me who doesn't play any instrument and who doesn't write songs, but listens to a lot of music, I'm very impressed with people in terms of how they can be creative when there's so much stuff already out there, and how they can put something out that's a little different, and how they can express themselves in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, or whatever the timing is.
Yeah, that's the biggest one that I've discovered in the past 5 years of being a little bit dry. I mean, writing now is something. I've even read Steve Earle saying recently, you can only write so many songs. You can only come up with so many ideas. And lately, when I hear some beautiful writing, Tom Wilson, for instance, or Stephen Fearing, I almost weep at, like, how do they do that? And then I go back to my favorites, and then I'll come up saying, like, oh, why bother? Why? But that's the first part, and then the other part is if you sit down and start noodling on a guitar, or you have a melody, or you're driving along, which you're in a car, you're on the road, a couple lines might come to mind, and you grab your device or you hit record while and you start singing. Something comes out, but there's the two sides of it. Yeah, you can sort of hear all these great people and say, their stuff is so good. My stuff is so lame. Why bother? Or, holy smokes, this just struck me. I got to sing this. I got to write this down right now. So at some point, there's no choice. It's going to ooze out anyway. So sometimes you can't fight the muse.
I was talking with Cliff Edwards, and he's on our program. And he had a lot of success early in his career with the Bells.
Yeah.
And at this particular point in his life, he is still writing, he is still recording.
Yeah.
And it's basically a case of, I've got stuff in me I want to get out.
Yeah.
And if other people listen to it, great. If not, I've gotten it out, is essentially the way I'm paraphrasing what he was saying.
Yeah, it maybe like any artist, poet, songwriter. If you're going to write a song, you're going to write a song because you want to write the song because it's in you and you want to get it out. And Cliff is certainly right. He's a good friend. It doesn't matter if people hear it or if it hits the charts. What really matters is you spoke to something. And then if you get a chance to play it on a radio station or a club or a concert or record it, 5 people, 500, 5,000, okay, that's a couple people say, wow, I really like that. Or, I don't know about 5 million. But, if you have to say it,
right,
you got to say it. You got to get it out. I mean, we're stuck. This is what we do. Mm-hmm. we're songwriters. We can't sort of say, well, I'm gonna write a song and then sit down and write an app for Apple. Nope, I can't do that.
Or go build a house or something. Another totally different career.
Or be a banker. No.
Not that there's anything wrong with those occupations.
No, they're...
No. When it comes to performing, I was looking through your CV, and you do a lot of solo work, and you do a duo, Head Over Heels, and you're also in a band.
Yes.
Right? Tell us about the kinds of things you would do with each of those. Solo
stuff is just me and the guitar, usually a concert, my own material. I'm actually I'm doing 2 or 3 bands this summer, but I've been with the Bob Robertson Trio for several years, and Bob's a dear friend who used to play certainly with Georgette and Grant Heckman, and we play a lot of really cool stuff and original songs, and we play really nice venues, and work pretty tight 3-part harmonies.
What kinds of songs? For the trio.
Rodney Crowell, we do a Georgette Fry song. Bob's written a couple of great songs. Bob sings a couple of my songs. Delbert McClinton, the Subdudes, it's certainly off the beaten path. A bit of Leonard Cohen, a bit of Tom Waits, stuff that nobody else is doing. So, and the duo is with my charming and most talented wife, Miss Vanessa, and we do, again, off the beaten path. We do original material, a bit of Nina Simone, some Bonnie Raitt, Shirley Eichhardt, Roxanne Potvin, some Lynn Miles, some Robbie Robertson, and as a rule, stay away from the mainstream beer-selling stuff. Mostly because I'm just tired of it.
Right.
Loud bars are just not what we want to do.
My wife and I had the opportunity to hear you and Vanessa play.
Yes.
And you were at the Cove, which is in Westport.
Yes.
And you were playing on a Sunday afternoon, a nice little venue, outdoor restaurant.
Yep.
And we were very impressed with the harmonies that the two of you had. The other thing that impressed me is you start singing a song and I'm going, okay, I know the song, but it's done completely differently from what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And that requires some effort.
I
would think.
The buzzword we say is interpretive covers. What I like to say live is you folks have probably heard these might be some of your favorite songs, and we've screwed them up beyond recognition. No, just changing. So we're going to record actually this fall, and one of the things that we've done that nobody else has done, and I really want Jim Cuddy to hear our version of the 5 Days in May song, because it's a big band, fast song. We've turned it into a very beautiful, slow ballad love song, and she sings it. So also we do other things where she'll sing a Hank Williams song, and I'll sing a Patsy Cline song. Mm-hmm. So what I like to do is maybe just take something that you think you know where it's going to go and flip it to have people go, whether they like it or not, they might say, well, that was interesting. Or, wow, I never thought of that song like that before. And that's just messing around. That's just trying something different. And hopefully, like in the case of Jim Cuddy or Lynn Miles, when you interpret somebody's song, hopefully they're going to like it rather than like, I'll sue you. What did you do to my song?
We talked about Cliff Edwards a little while ago, and Stay a While, when it was written by Ken Tobias, was a mid-tempo song.
Yep.
And Cliff just took it and slowed it right down and made it a boy-girl song.
Yes.
And I guess Ken wasn't a big fan of that approach until it sold 1 million
Until he got a royalty check. Everybody can complain about what'd you do to my song? Oh, never mind. I just got a big fat check.
Exactly. Now, you've played a lot of different venues, and I would imagine you've had the opportunity to talk to some of the people who come to see your shows.
Yeah.
What kind of reaction do you get from people when they listen to some of your own compositions? What kind of feedback do you get? I'm interested in
that. I've written songs about people who've told me their stories over a beer, and then they show up, and I'd play the song, and they were mad. Like, that sounds like us. I said, well, it actually is. And then there's other songs that I've written from deep personal experiences, just my own. And I don't always say whose songs that they're mine or not. But sometimes I've had people come up and say, "You just wrote my life story." Mm-hmm. So I don't even really care so much what they say or how I affect them. I'm just pleased that they listened, like that they would hear, especially these days in clubs, because a lot of us, most of us, we're not on concert tours. Lots of times you get a chance to play a concert and soft seaters and people are listening, but when you're playing a club, it's pretty distracted. So if people actually hear your song, or maybe when they buy your CDs or your records and they come up and say that love song you wrote is so beautiful or whatever, I mean, that's just like, wow, thank you.
When you still do recording, because you mentioned earlier that you're going into the studio this month.
Yeah.
So you've done how many CDs?
Well, I did an album.
On vinyl?
The very first recording is vinyl. We did that in Halifax. And that was all original tunes, actually except for two, one written by my piano player and the other written by my drummer. But at the time, I had some nice players on that one. Kenny Pearson, an old friend of mine who works with Bruce Coburn, Black and the Rodeo Kings, and used to work with McGarrigles. He dragged the McGarrigles in and their band, and they played on it. So that was one. That was in, 80, 81. And then we did another CD. I even forget, honestly, 90-something. And then I did a live one 2 years ago. Well, the reason why I did the last one live is for that reason, because I'd been going in the studio once or twice a year and going, oh man, he said, you don't like it, and then the band, they say, what we're gonna do? I'm gonna put the guys together, we're gonna practice, and we're gonna sell 2 shows in a club, and we're gonna mic everything, and we're gonna do it live off the floor, no overdubs. 1, 2, 3, go. And we're taking the mix as we got it. And that was, to me, that was spontaneous. And it just got rid of all the anguish about, I don't know if I like the way I delivered the third verse of that song. It just...
And to our listeners, if you want to get a sample of that live album, you go to your website.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kevinhead.ca, right?
Yes.
And there's one particular tune on there that I like, What Can I Do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you.
You did a good job on that one. I like
that's
that one.
Another original. Yeah.
We, when it comes to some of the stuff you are doing now, because you're playing at different places with different combinations of people, why don't you give us a bit of an overview of the things you're doing? We have already talked about the fact that you're at the Cove, which is in Westport, Sunday afternoons. Is that for the summer?
Oh, yeah, that's 5 years now every Sunday. So they seem to like us over there. So it's just great. You sit there, as you know, it's like beautiful weather. You're just having having a sip of something to eat, and people are just nice, and then you do functions, like weddings are always fun, but also last weekend played in Belleville, a beautiful place called Capers, played at the Holiday Inn Friday night here in Kingston, got Blues Festival coming up and did a great concert last year opening for Jim Bryson as part of the Small Halls tour.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully with a new record, maybe you do some concerts. Once again, the idea of, as folks, musicians are working people and we need to make a living.
Right.
So making a living, you got to play clubs.
That's right.
And I've been doing that for a lot of years, as have all my friends. You got to make a few $100 every week to keep your car on the road. So that's what we do. Festivals and all those other lovely jobs are great, but they don't pay much. People listen, or sell CDs or do something else. But
that brings us to the end of the program, Kevin. Thank you very much for coming in and playing and talking with us.
Thank you. That's fun.
Well, hopefully it is.
Yeah.
Theme music for the program is Stasis Oasis, a tune written and performed by Kingston musician Tim Aylesworth. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions about any of our episodes, please send a note to the Kingstonian Podcast Facebook page. This is Dave Cunningham from Kingston, Ontario. Thank you for listening. Until next time.